Hello and welcome to your first sports coaching flip video, which is about the responsibilities of coaches. For your assignment, you will need to know at least 4 responsibilities of coaches and be able to describe and explain them for their pass and merit. So the first one is a legal obligation to child protection. This is where a coach or teacher who is working with children must have a CRB check or a full DBS disclosure. So this is a criminal records check, and it determines whether the coach is allowed to work with children depending on their background. So this all came about due to the Children Act, where a sports coach needs to be aware of the signs and symptoms. Now these are things that we're going to look at in a little bit. However, it also provides a framework for people who work with children to be able to know how to improve their health development and ensure their well-being. So the Act ensures that the coach is able to provide care and safe supervised activities. It also ensures that people who are working with children have the CRB or DBS, as it is called, and you will also be receiving one of these. So the types of abuse that coaches need to recognise: first is physical, it's obvious right there, is bruising, burns, cuts. A second one is sexual abuse, and this can be usually exhibited either by children making inappropriate comments or displaying over-sexualized behaviour, either to their peers or perhaps to an adult. The other one is emotional abuse. Now this could be a lot less harder to spot, and this is where a lack of love and affection, and child can become reserved. An example of this, perhaps a child turning up each day to a sports camp without any lunch. Now that would be also a form of physical abuse as well. So that would be emotional and physical. So when recognising neglect, there is a sort of step-by-step procedure you should take. First off, always be calm, as your child will take their lead from you, and if you remain calm, so will they. Just ensure that you let the child know it's not their fault or they're to blame for what has happened, and always take what they say seriously. Try not to ask too many questions, and you want to save that for either the child protection officer or the police themselves. Always reassure the child, let them know that they're doing the right thing. This will help them feel better about themselves. Keep a full record. You want to write this down so that they have a comprehensive record about what they said to you at the time, and also prevents you forgetting. And also this means that when it comes, if there were anything to proceed legally in terms of courts or the police, you have an accurate record from which to back up what was said. Never make any promises about no one else finding out. As soon as the conversation is finished, report the findings to your child protection officer or the police, depending on the severity of the matter and also who it will involve. For example, if it involves the child protection officer, you're not going to go to them first, you would go straight to the police. Okay, next one. So we've already gone for one. This is number 2, is professional conduct, and this is a coach behaving appropriately. So, for example, a basketball coach is going to have good knowledge of all the teaching points of things such as layups or free throws, and also the tactics and training methods of the sport. Approaching coaching qualification, example would be a surf coach having their level 1 surf instructors. And also things such as emergency aid qualifications and child protection qualifications in case of injury or ensuring the safeguarding of children. They'll be able to communicate properly, they have respect for everyone, and ensure that fair play and positive athlete values are adhered to. Next is insurance. So this is having required proper insurance, and you get this through being part of a coaching body, such as the Football Association, Coaches Association, FACA, and they insure you up to the cost of millions of pounds. Now this is essential because if an athlete gets injured during a session, then this money can help them or ensure that they're paid for their injuries or rehab or whatever they need. But this is only if safety measures have been adhered to, because here it says if safety measures had not been adhered to, then the coach is liable, which means they will have to pay everything and also could face criminal prosecution. However, example might be if I was teaching trampolining and I warned a whole class 3 times not to attempt backflips, and there was a sign on the wall saying do not attempt backflips, and a child attempts a backflip and hurts themselves, that means I am in the clear and my insurance will support that child who then gets injured, and it won't come out of my pocket and I won't face criminal prosecution because I followed the correct safety measures. Okay, next is a health and safety, which is linked into something that we've already talked about. However, it's on its own here, and a coach has responsibility to manage the safety of everyone in the sessions. And they do this by doing a risk assessment, which you will get a chance to do in your assessing risk unit. Protect athletes from injury and reduce risk using safe, acceptable practice. For example, if I was to have 2 football matches running side by side, I would make sure there's enough space between the 2 pitches so that there is a sufficient gap and will prevent any players from running onto the other pitch and colliding with another one. Also, if an accident or injury occurs, we follow the correct procedure using either first aid or an accident reporting as well. Okay, equal opportunities. This is ensuring that sport is accessible for all. So a football coach will ensure that all of his players get equal opportunities to play. Now, this at a grassroots level is completely fine. However, at an elite level, where the objective is to win, are they going to pick players who perhaps haven't had that much game time? Probably not. They're going to pick their best 11. Also, all coaches should do is be able to ensure there's no inequality with athletes, spectators, parents or officials. So if some officials were getting abuse from parents, the coach would have to maybe try and address that and try and stop it. So knowledge of a coaching environment, we're going to let this handsome chap just describe what some of the different sports environments are. Different sports environments include, for example, playing pitches, indoor sports halls, 5-a-side cages, squash courts, tennis courts, dry ski slopes. They can be a whole range of different sporting environments, and as a coach you need to know about where is the equipment located. If you have to get basketball nets down, how do you do that? Where are the bibs stored? Also, you have to know things such as where is the first aid kit located, where are the toilets, and where are the emergency exits. Okay, so very finally, to recap, we've talked about legal obligations in terms of child protection. We've talked about professional conduct in terms of how you should treat your players and what kind of knowledge and experience and qualifications you should have. We've talked about insurance here, about how to ensure that you wouldn't be liable, but also that you need to ensure safety measures in place so that the insurance fully protects you. Also, we talked about health and safety, about how to ensure that you deliver a safe session and provide equal opportunities, but also the knowledge of coaching environments is what we just looked at on that last one. Okay, so I had to just sneak it in the bottom there. So, for the lesson, I would like you to come with a knowledge and be able to describe at least 4 of the 6 responsibilities when you come into the lesson. Thank you very much.